Right now it's 6. North Georgia locked in a winter grip. 83 counties remain under a state of emergency tonight. You're looking live north over I-85 toward Buckhead. No snow is falling, but the temperatures, they are dropping like a rock right now.
Businesses have virtually shut down. Governor Nathan Deal says state government offices are going to stay closed again tomorrow, and many school districts, including Atlanta Public Schools, Fulton, Cobb, DeKalb, Gwinnett, and most recently Cherokee, deciding to close again for tomorrow. You can see more closings at the bottom of your screen. We also have a list on 11alive.com. As for the roads, ice continues to be the major hazard, even as the sun's setting now.
And our Christy Etheridge now is live at the GDOT Management Center. Christy, many crews have worked through the day, and now they have a lot of work to do overnight to make sure that everybody is running by tomorrow.
That's right. Brine trucks are on the verge of getting back out onto the streets. They've been plowing all day, dropping that harder material like the rock and the salt. But tonight they're supercharging their brine to get ready for those extremely cold temperatures that are going to be sticking around. So they're adding calcium chloride to the brine, which is already that salt mixture. And that means it should protect the roads down to negative 18 degrees. Now, hopefully we won't be getting that cold, but it will be much colder than we're used to. So they're taking this extra step to be safe because they have about 18,000 center lane miles they're responsible for. So let's put that number into perspective. Take a listen.
When you look at that 18,000 number, 13,000 of those lane miles were affected by this storm. So from south of Columbus all the way north to Tennessee. So you're talking about 3/4 of our state where the roads were affected by this storm. A lot of work to do.
And to break that down even further, when you think back to the snow that we got in December, only about 1/4 of the state was affected in that winter event, even though there was technically more inches in some spots. But one thing that's cool about this room, this is the eyes and the ears of the road, and they are able to pull up any camera out of the thousands that they have statewide on those screens to be able to react in real time. Cheryl?
All right, Christy, a lot of ice on those cameras. Thank you so much. John Sherrick is monitoring school districts tonight, watching that situation as well. John, many have decided at this point to call early to close.
The map has changed a lot in the last hour. A lot of decisions within the past hour to close, including Forsyth County is going to be closed. Paulding County is going to be closed. Bartow County and the city of Cartersville will be closed. Cherokee County will be closed. We're still waiting to hear from Dawson County, and let's close them, and also this cluster of counties, including Clark and Oconee, east of Atlanta. One decision weighing heavily on school districts on whether to close, not just the safety of students, of course, that's number one, but also a lot of school districts have already used their 4 emergency days that they're allowed every year between Hurricane Irma in September and the snowfall last month. So they're going to have to make up those days if they're closed today and again tomorrow, sometime before the end of the school year. Back to you.
All right, John, thank you for a check of the very latest conditions. We send it over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb. Chris, how about overnight? Just keeps getting colder and colder, right?
It does, and we never made it above freezing today. Our high temperature today was only at about 27 degrees. Right now, we are still in the 20s at 23. So we didn't make it above freezing, but the wind and the sun helped to eat away at some of that snow that was out there. You may have seen some of that disappear from some of the streets, but there are still a lot of areas out there that have that snow and ice still on the ground. And with temperatures, now that the sun is going down, temperatures fall even more. We're not going to see that disappearing during the nighttime hours. So just be careful of still a lot of those patches around. Now, not only is it cold in the 20s, but it feels even colder thanks to that wind. It makes it feel like it's 8 degrees out there. We have that wind chill advisory still in effect through Thursday morning. Winds still whipping up between 10 and 20 miles an hour. Temperatures again in the morning dip down into the teens. That will give us those wind chills that will make it feel like it's between 5 above and 10 below zero. And again, that could cause frostbite out there in a short period of time. So let me walk you through these wind chills through the evening hours. This is how it's going to feel for you tonight. Definitely bundle up. Hopefully you're not going to be out navigating any of the roads. If you do, put extra clothes in your car in case you get stuck and have to end up walking somewhere, because you'll be walking in these temperatures that feel like they're in the single digits there with the wind chill. In the morning, wind chills still in the single digits, but we will see a warm up during the day tomorrow. Once we get to the lunchtime hour, these wind chills will be up into the 20s. Actual air temperatures will also get back to above freezing, we think, around the lunchtime time hour tomorrow, and that will really help to eat away and thaw out at whatever is left there during the day tomorrow with some of that snow and some of the ice that is left behind. Stay with us. We have an even more of a warming trend that's coming our way. We'll talk about the timing of that coming up.
Thank you, Chris. Tonight, an Atlanta police officer is out of the hospital and recovering at home after she was hit by a vehicle that slid on a patch of ice. That officer was outside her patrol car investigating a wreck on Lenox Road when another car got off of Georgia 400, ran into one of the vehicles. That pushed an SUV right into the officer. Someone who saw it all happen stopped to help, radioed for help from the officer's patrol car. APD says the officer has some bumps and bruises, but otherwise is going to be okay.
Well, those kinds of dangerous road conditions have at least one county telling people they have to stay inside. They have no other options. Coweta County has now issued a curfew that's already in effect. That's where we find Naima Abdullahi. She is there tonight. Naima, this is a drastic measure they felt they needed to take.
Right, and all law enforcement agencies in Coweta County are enforcing that curfew, which started at 5 p.m. and goes until 10 a.m. And guess what? If you get stopped for unnecessarily being on the road, you could get a fine of up to $1,000 or 60 days in jail. Let's just show you this main road right behind me. The road has been slick throughout the day. Now, most of the cars should not be out on the road, but that's not stopping people from driving. The sheriff's office tells me deputies have been working long hours, some since yesterday, making sure people who have no business driving are staying off the icy roads. Now, we were there as a truck was getting towed out of an icy ditch near a gas station earlier. Throughout the day, we saw so many cars stuck on the side of the roads and highways, but no serious injuries, which is what the county officials want to avoid by enforcing the curfew. And the calls have been coming in to the 911 dispatch center here in Noonan. Emergency crews have been responding to urgent calls all day. Lieutenant Colonel Lynn Wood has a stern warning for anyone who thinks it's a good idea to drive in this weather.
Been receiving cars off the road all morning, all afternoon, cars that have been involved in accidents, strictly because they cannot drive in this weather.
I don't have four-wheel drive or not experienced in snow. I would definitely advise to stay home.
And there are exceptions to the curfew. If you are an emergency crew member, if you're working, if you're driving an ambulance, if you're with the fire crews, they're saying, you know what, you can be out here. If you got to get to work, if you got to get to a flight, that's okay. But people who just are driving to the grocery store just to get extra food when they have food already, those are the people they're targeting to make sure they're staying in their homes. And everyone I've been talking to all day told me, you know what, we're actually going to stay inside and open up our Netflix account or watch the local news, which I think is a great idea. Back to you, Cheryl.
Fantastic idea on a 23-degree night. Thank you, Naima. Hundreds of flights have been delayed or canceled throughout the course of the day here in Atlanta and more up the East Coast. A live look here at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. The wait times to get through security at the airport growing to well over an hour at times during the day and even into the evening. Tonight, Kim Smith is at the airport watching those conditions. Kim, any update for people who still need to travel this evening?
Yes, Cheryl, we're starting to see some progress out here at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. You can probably hear above me some planes taking off. We've seen about 7 Delta flights take off in the last 5 minutes or so. So that's some good signs for some of the passengers out here who have been waiting a very long time to try to get out of Atlanta. Now, over here at the Southwest check-in counter, we're still seeing some long lines as customers are there trying to rebook their flight. They're saying that they're having some issues online to check into or try to rebook their flight. Out of Hartsfield-Jackson Airport right now, we're seeing about 653 cancellations, 1,114 delays inbound and outbound of this airport, about 3 hours and 5 minutes outbound delay time. TSA officials also telling me that's the area where you're going to have to prepare and have some patience. They emailed me this afternoon telling me that the wait time peaked at about 75 minutes. Now, we did see some progress there within the last hour with those lines starting to cut down a little bit, but they are just trying to bear with the process over there. TSA officials also told me that they had to bring in some extra help because some of their employees were calling out of work due to inclement weather, trying to get here, transportation issues, and school cancellation. So there were some TSA employees who volunteered on their off day to come in and help bring in some backup over at the security lines. And then passengers here just trying to hang in there and stay with all of the hectic hustle and bustle out here at the airport.
So this is the most disorganized security line I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's not bad, it's moving. I've been here 45 minutes.
Our manager is a little bit ahead of us, and she said that she's never seen an airport like this. It's insane, and she's suggesting that we rebook for tomorrow.
My thinking is it's the weather. Nobody could get to work today to open any more lines, I guess.
Yeah, so some of the passengers trying to stay in good spirits out here. I even saw an airport official handing out bottles of water, trying to keep people patient through all of this process out here. Reporting from Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kim, thanks a lot.
All right, we continue with more coverage after this break. How about a live look from the Thunder Truck as Doug Richards has been rumbling around Atlanta Metro for the last couple of hours. This is Jimmy Carter near I-85 in DeKalb County, and it is icy. It is a very, very tricky commute right now if you are making your way down that street. Be very, very mindful of that.